If you don't mind, I'm about to run and grab this.
Yeah, so while Parlay Pete's going to grab whatever the hell he's going to grab, he's probably going to re-up. We're going to talk a little bit of NBA when he gets back. Then we're going to talk a little bit of culture. And then we're going to give out some picks. Now, shout out to the YouTube guys who came here and dropped some hot takes on us. Pause if that's necessary. Eric Bieniemy in Alabama. Zach Wilson making out with dudes. Don't really care. You know, what happens in Zach's bedroom or in bars when he's hammered is none of my business. I just know Zach Wilson can't throw NFL footballs appropriately. Okay. But hey, man, proud Falcons fan here, rocking my Falcons gear again because you know what? I'm happy. I'm happy that we've moved on from Arthur Smith, and a big part of this first 2 hours were all NFL, and yeah, we were both happy. Arthur Smith is gone. I forgot we got to talk a little college football too. Goat retired. Harbaugh finally gets his ring. You know, Saban, more first round picks and losses. Has not had a 4-year span where he didn't win a national championship. So if you played 4 years for Saban, you won a national championship. I mean, it's crazy stuff out here. But I may pitch something at Parlay Pete when he gets back, saying, is Jim Harbaugh overrated? Is Jim Harbaugh overrated? Like, do we really think that Jim Harbaugh coaches ball better than Dabo, Kirby? And I'll probably throw this at Parlay Pete. Should maybe Dabo consider going to the NFL? He can swallow his pride and not be the richest fuck on the team in the facility. Is he now more suited to coach in the NFL because he's not really into the portal and enough in the NIL? Because I think the hardest part about the portal is the lack of parameters on the portal. You know, we've seen some legends retire. We've seen
Guys,
in
I'm back.
basketball, Coach K retire. We've seen Roy Williams retire. And now we're seeing the GOAT retire, and not because he can't coach anymore, not that he's lost a step, but we've seen the GOAT retire because he doesn't know if he can commit full time to the level that he wants to commit to. And I think a lot of that's because he can't replace his staff with people that he's confident in. He talked about it. You know, Lane Kiffin put it out there this season that Nick Saban was calling the defense. Kevin Steele was just the DC in title. And Nick, in his interview with Chris Fowler today that came out, he talked about coach. He's like, he was giving the defense more time, and he felt like because he was giving the defense more time, he was not being the CEO like he should be. So Parlay Pete, I was kind of leading into our college football discussion on the GOAT Nick Saban retiring. I think it's a sad day in college football. I think it's a sad day in SEC football, but I also think it's a happy day in Athens.
Oh, it's a glorious day in Athens. It's a bittersweet moment actually, because you didn't get to have that moment this season where, you know, when we looked at the Georgia schedule, you're like, God, at Texas. Then you're like, God, at Bama. You don't get to get the Kirby Saban matchup again, and Saban got the last laugh kind of at Kirby, with that being his last victory. You know, winning the SEC. Stopping what would have been something that would have catapulted Kirby into the GOAT conversation already, winning 3 in a row. He stopped it. You know, his last game, he lost to the eventual national champions, but, you know, he took a team, an Alabama team that probably had no fucking business being in the college football playoff in reality,
I mean,
And
you
not
got
because of
Jalen Milrow
the Florida State thing, but because they just weren't one of the 4 best teams in the country. And we saw that against Auburn. We saw that against South Florida. You know, you saw this stuff throughout the year when you looked at Bama and you were like, they were, you know, Bama wasn't ranked number 1 at any point this season. And they said that was the first time since Saban's second year at Alabama that they weren't ranked number 1 at any point in the season. So think about it. Since his first season and his last season were the only seasons where Alabama did not have a number 1 ranking at any point in the season. That's unbelievable.
The guy had more first-round picks than losses. 29-40.
That's crazy.
So, I know this is a bad audio experience. I'm chewing on Mike and Ike's, but fuck off.
Hey, you're fine. I had my strawberries a little earlier. They're good.
Nick Saban, a legend. Nick Saban, great. And I think my appreciation for Nick Saban grew as I developed into a man. Because I remember being like a high school kid. I'm like, bro, I couldn't play for this guy. Like, what the fuck? Like, he's like, hell no. But then you grow up and you go, that's the type of place I would want to send my son.
Yeah.
The type of guy who's going to tell him to get the hell out of here. You're an NFL guy. Who cares what it does to my program? Or a guy who says, hey, man, you're not ready. I know you're going to go first round, but you're not ready. A guy who his players love and speak glowingly about. A guy that I think any coach has the utmost respect. And look at Lane Kiffin. He did Lane Kiffin dirty.
Yeah.
But you're not going to tell me that Lane does not have the utmost respect for Coach Saban, how he runs his program. Like I've never played for this guy. I've never met this guy. I'll probably never meet this guy. But I'm not even comfortable calling him Nick Saban. He's Coach Saban, you know, like he's coach. And he's just been a great figure for any of us. Great ambassador, a great figure for us watching football. You talk about accountability, setting a standard and not breaking from that standard. Somebody who adapted. He's a defensive guy, cut his teeth as a defensive backs coach. And as football changed and adapted, he changed and adapted. He brought in Lane Kiffin. He brought in Sark. He brought in these great offensive minds. You know, he brought in Tommy Reese. He brought in people who viewed the game differently than he initially did to ensure that his program stayed on top. He was not so in love with the Nick Saban way of playing football and how he believed football should be played to saying, hey, this is winning football and we're going to play winning football. And side note, the Suns are doing exactly what the Bucks did. They are keeping their guys in.
But you know what? It's because they needed to. They haven't shown us anything this season. I'm trying to tell you, they haven't done. Man, they are the most frustrating team to bet on or watch. Literally, they literally are like the worst, bro.
So there's definitely a big void in SEC country because Coach Saban has retired. And all I'm going to say is Alabama, man, you better get this hire right. Because you can turn back into the historic franchise, the historic program who is just not good anymore, you know?
Yeah.
You could be Michigan. You know, outside of 97, I believe Michigan hadn't won an outright natty since the 40s.
Yeah.
And Michigan cares. They have a rabid fan base. They have a rabid alumni base. They have the boosters. They have everything that you need to be great outside of a pretty shitty location and cold weather and a terrible recruiting base, but great academics.
They got the rest of it.
I mean, but here's the thing. It starts with caring about football.
Yeah.
Michigan cares about football. Michigan has history that people care about. They have historic coaches, Bo Schembechler, now Jim Harbaugh. They have people. They have Tom Brady. They have no. They have.
He's not who won in '97. Schembechler wasn't there still.
Probably was Lloyd Carr.
Yeah. Look, Lloyd had a nice little run there. They were relevant. There was a period after him when they got Rich Rodriguez.
Yeah. He was there in '97.
I think Brady Hoke or somebody was the other coach. They had a period where they were pretty irrelevant. Denard Robinson was on the front of NCAA football, but they were opening up ranked 22 and finishing 7-5 every year. Like, so you remember Denard Robinson, right?
Yeah. He was Pat White light.
Shit. He was Malik Cunningham, nigga, before Malik Cunningham. That's who he was. Like,
but no, so they care. And you look at other schools and they just don't care about football. Yeah. So I'm gonna miss you, Coach Saban. Wish you could replace Herb on Fox, big noon kickoff, but I know you're an ESPN guy. So hopefully you can replace the corpse of Lee Corso. Legend.
Well, who says that who says they don't make the trade?
I'd love it. Did we talk about it on the show or pre-production about Herb to Alabama?
Pre-production, but that was the point. The point was that, and that's why we got started, because you said we got too much good stuff going on right now. And that is my theory. Why wouldn't Urban Meyer be the person that they want to bring in? He's been, outside of Kirby and Dabo, has been the most successful coach of the 2000s.
And if we're being honest, he could stand up against Nick both at Ohio State and in Florida and say, hey, man, I'm the captain now.
Right.
And
he can look him eye to eye. Well, a little shorter, because he's not eye to eye with them. But he's the only person who had a resume that could even remotely be talked about in the same breath.
Like, Urban could say, hey, man, you went on your run because I left Florida. I'm not saying he's right, but he has grounds to say it.
And I left Ohio State early.
And turn it over to that fucking
pipsqueak.
The guy who was mad at Lou Holtz, but he couldn't beat Missouri.
Oh, Lou Holtz. I'll never forget. I'll never forget my man doing that shit on Pat McAfee show. That is like the best impression of Lou Holtz that I've ever heard.
Did you watch the interview that he did with Lou Holtz, dressed up as Lou Holtz, talking like Lou Holtz?
I did not, but I know that we had talked about it on here.
It's comedic gold. But so let's talk about Alabama a little bit, because I think we do have to talk about Jim Harbaugh bringing a national championship, although tainted, to Michigan.
Yeah.
Who replaces him? I know he got that shit about Eric Bieniemy. I doubt it.
No, I think that Herb is somebody that we're going to hear about in the coming days.
Well, they said they're going to make a move in 72 hours because they can't lose the recruits.
Well, it's either that or they're. I mean, who are they going to poach? Like, Dabo is, of course, to me, would make the most sense because of his ties to Alabama and the fact that he's still, even though they might not hire him though because of his stance with NIL, they're just like, buddy, you're just not going to win. Like,
I don't think you can hire Dabo if he's not into NIL or the portal.
Yeah, well, yeah, but who's to say that they don't come with the boatload of money and they tell them, look, we want you to coach the football team. When it comes to personnel decisions on getting these guys in and who's coming in, AD's handling that.
Or the GM or the football operations guy, hey, look here, Dabo, give us your big board, rank these players. Tell us who you want. Tell us your nose. Tell us your maybes. Tell us your why they're maybes. And we just need you to go sit and talk to mama. But let's be honest, Parlay Pete. Given Dabo's recent track record, if your son's a 4-star, fuck that. Let's say a 3-star. And most 3-stars have their pick of the litter.
Yeah.
Would you want your kid to play for Dabo? Because I wouldn't.
No. Kirby's the first person. And not because, obviously, being from the state of Georgia and being a Georgia fan, I just think from a coaching standpoint, them boys, they did a number for Kirby by leaking those pregame and halftime speeches. Because if that doesn't make you want to get ready to play some football and knock somebody on their ass, bro, I don't know what will. Like, you know what I mean? And so...
And more than those speeches, you know what really made me just fall in love with Kirby? The way that we beat the dog piss out of Florida State, the way that we had guys like Ladd McConkey, who did not have to play. He had nothing to gain from playing in that game.
And he still he wanted to put on the silver breeches with the red jersey.
Yes, like these guys bought into being a Georgia Bulldog so much that they cared about sending those seniors out with 50 wins.
Yeah.
2 natties. They cared about that. And then when he goes to the podium after the game, he talks about college football being flawed.
Yeah.
And how we got to make these bowl games matter again. But what he didn't do, he didn't fucking go up there and sit on his fucking high horse and say, this is why we should have been in the natty. This is why we should have been in the playoff. He didn't do that.
Yeah.
He accepted, hey, man, we didn't show up in the game that we need to show up in. I'll take that as a man. But we got to fix this. We got to fix this system because bowl games used to matter. And now if it's not for the national championship, guys aren't playing. And that's wrong to our fans. That's wrong. I mean, he didn't say this, but it's wrong to our sponsors. It dilutes a product. Like, bro, think about 10 years ago, how much you look forward to bowl season.
Yeah.
Fuck 10 years ago. Let's go when we were kids. It's like
more football. I'm
watching the Outback Bowl. I'm watching the BP set this shit on fire bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit. Miami had a down year, but they still got so-and-so and so-and-so. I want to go watch them one more time.
Or even worst case scenario, okay, top quarterback, guy's going to be top 5 pick. He's sitting out. Hey, I heard they got this 5-star. I want to watch this 5-star come out here and ball the fuck out.
Well, Tennessee.
Because now that 5-star is not already leaving to go elsewhere, like in the USC game. Top quarterback, guy's the backup to Caleb Williams this year, doesn't even play, and he transfers to Boise State. You know what I mean?
Yeah, college football, they have got to clean up the portal. They've got to put some parameters on the portal.
Yeah.
I'm not against the portal by no means. And I'm not against NIL.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just against the way that it's being utilized. For one, I think that revenue generating programs should be able to split the revenue with their players.
Yeah.
Now, if you're the fucking golf team and you ain't making no money, I don't think you should be able to fucking get paid. I think you should accept your scholarship, your meals, and call it a day. But I also think NIL. Caleb Williams is on national commercials.
Yes.
He deserves NIL.
Yes.
Texas giving their O-line $50K to come there. I don't think those guys should get NIL. I think they should get a salary.
Yeah.
You know, like they don't move product. If you don't move product, you don't get NIL. And I had a conversation at a bar We were at a brewery recently with some guys down here in Albany. And I said, hey, man, if a local kid from Albany goes to Albany State, or even hell, if he goes to UGA, and the Ford dealer here, because this guy is a hometown hero, wants to give this guy some NIL money because he's a UGA alum, or this guy is local to Albany and they want to increase business, and they give this guy NIL deal because he actually can move product here.
Yeah.
Sure. Give it to him. But if we giving motherfuckers NIL deals and they ain't moving no product, oh man, that's money laundering.
Well, I look at it this way. For instance, with the new NCAA football game coming out, how is that going to work when it comes to paying the players? I think that same rule should work in terms of, well, if any of the money from this video game is going only to football, why is it that we can't set the NIL up something similar? And of course, it was proposed in general that they just separate the league. And even Chip Kelly kind of brought this up when he said, I think that it should be its own separate entity, and that even conference-wise, with how conference alignment is, he said for football, it's different. We travel once a week to play a game. He said the golf team, even basketball for that matter, when USC has to play
Ohio State on Tuesday.
Maryland. Well, let's just say Maryland. Maryland's in the Big Ten. Maryland has to play UCLA. Are they going to do it to where it's a back-to-back? Because that's basically how they're going to set the schedule up. I have to imagine for college basketball, those guys are going to have to play a game. But why does the golf team from Maryland have to go all the way to UCLA to golf there? And
what if they go down to San Diego to play the golf tournament? You know what I mean?
Right. It's in San Diego, even though they're playing UCLA.
Yeah, like I it's nasty because
when Washington has to play Maryland, like.
Hey, dog, I got a midterm tomorrow.
Fuck it. He's like, you're going to be in Seattle shooting a fucking 68. We need you.
And again, we know the schools, they are obviously going to work around it academically.
Yeah.
But how much influence are you putting on the academia part of it?
None.
So
come on, they don't give a shit, man.
If you're gonna call it minor league ball, then call it minor league ball. Call it what it is. I had a conversation with some guys earlier today, and I said, the nice thing about Republicans, if they want to fuck you, they're gonna whine you. They're gonna whine you. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna whine you and dine you. And they're going to say, hey, man, we're having sex tonight. But the Dems, I'm a registered Dem, by the way. They're more so roofie type of people. They're going to drop it in your drink. They're going to fuck you. You're going to wake up in the morning and be like, damn, I got fucked.
Damn, what happened? Right.
Yeah,
I don't even remember. I don't remember agreeing to this.
I don't remember this, but golly, my asshole feels different. Pause.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Pause. But this might be the best analogy you've ever given, because this is truly gold. That is exactly how these two parties operate.
Come on, Parlay Pete. We've gone out with chicks and it's like, hey, tonight we fucking.
Right.
Now we get the adequate consent. We make it very clear, like
right, exactly what it is that I'm here for. What? Yeah.
I don't care what this tab is. I'm not gonna be mad about this tab. We're probably gonna go somewhere, and I'm gonna spend too much. I'm gonna spend an amount of money on drinks where we could have bought the bottle and hung out at my house.
Yeah.
But no, I'm gonna spend 5 times that. And to set the mood, to make you feel good about this decision, make you feel, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, this is what we're gonna do.
Right.
Nah, not the Dems. If you ain't black, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. The fuck you done for niggas, nigga? Not saying no names. It's like, hey, I'm going to bring you in, and I'm going to enjoy this. And you're not going to remember. You're just
Right.
going to feel it, but you don't even have a basis to talk about it because you
Right.
don't know what the fuck happened. But anyways, Jim Harbaugh finally gets him a championship. He says he can sit at the big boys table in his home because his dad won a double A championship
Yeah.
at Western Kentucky. Shout out to Western Kentucky. They did recruit a nigga back in the day.
So you're going to be a hilltopper.
No, I was like, bro, I'm not going to bumblefuck Kentucky to continue playing football. I don't love it. I don't love football enough for that.
You didn't want to be a hilltopper?
No. I decided to be a Maroon Tiger.
There's nothing.
And his brother obviously beat him in a Super Bowl. But Jim finally gets his ring, which I think solidifies him to the novices as a good coach. Now, don't get me wrong. I criticize Jim for not being a champion because you can't put him in you can't compare him to Nick Saban, and he doesn't have one.
Yeah.
You can say he's a good coach. You can say he's a great coach. But hey, dog, you got to get one. He finally got his one. Granted, a down year. For the sport. Granted,
he didn't have to play the best team to get it.
The best team in the country had a terrible game plan against Jalen Milroe and didn't get to make it to the big dance. But he did what he was supposed to do. He won every game that was put in front of him. He had help in some games, and other games he allegedly didn't.
Yeah,
but
those important games he didn't.
Maybe, but I can't comfortably say Connor Stallions wasn't doing fucking intel on these guys prior to that because he was at the Georgia-Ohio State game last year, allegedly. But I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here. Michigan won the championship. Is going to get vacated, and shout out to them. Harbaugh's going to be gone, and he's not going to face the same.
Why are you so petty?
Because I tell Michigan fans, hey, Michigan is Georgia. Prior to us winning those back-to-back natties, like we are 10-win programs who are competing against Ohio State and Alabama, who are legitimate championship programs.
Yeah,
we are a little brother.
Yeah,
and Michigan fans just they don't want to accept that. I go, bro, you're a little brother. I don't care how many championships you won in leather helmets before integration. Fuck off. You're a 10-win. You're a 10-win program.
You're not.
Y'all ready to run off Jim Harbaugh for winning 10 games? He's meeting the standard. He's meeting the standard. But no, Michigan won a natty, Parlay Pete.
They did.
How much do you care?
Well, I think that somebody on the Paul Feinbaum show said it best on how much we care. We don't give a rat's ass about that national championship. And even Paul even said it himself. He said, honestly, he said, if you want my true answer, he said, I really don't care who wins. He said, I'd take 51-49 Michigan. Like, he's like, if you're just asking me for who I think's going to win the game, but he said, I truthfully, he's like, I don't care who wins the game.
I don't. I have some Michigan fans in my life, so I was happy for them.
JP's a Michigan fan.
JP's a Michigan fan. My homeboy Naj, he's a Michigan fan. Eric Boyd, he is married into Michigan fandom. His wife is Michigan alum, so
yeah,
he enjoyed it. He went to the playoff game out there at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it looked like he was having a grand old time on the grandest stage of them all.
You know, Stephen A wants to move that game to SoFi.
Speaking of Stephen A, what did you think of that shot when they showed him? It's like a white chick under him. It's Travis Scott, Michael Jordan, and Derek Jeter. I guess he was in the Jordan suite, the team Jordan suite, because those are all Jordan people, except him. But
you want to know how I look at it? Is if we go to an event and Colin gets a suite, I get to be like your homeboy plus one, right?
Yeah.
And people who are in his circles, right, Hey, who the fuck is these random ass niggas?
Right.
Now, mind you, you're not random in his life.
Right.
But to people in his rich NBA circles, you could be very well be some random ass nigga.
Right.
And me, oh, well, I'm just with my nigga. I'm with
Right.
my nigga who's with his nigga.
Right.
We ain't causing no problems, but we ain't them.
Right.
That's how I viewed that. Like, why are you with Michael Jordan, Derek Jeter, and Travis Scott? People who run their industries. And when I say Travis Scott, I talk about culture. I'm not talking about rap music. I'm not talking about fashion. I'm talking about culture. Travis Scott done went and made Michael Jordan's shoes better. And
Yeah.
niggas died over them shits.
Yeah.
He made Jordan's better.
He revitalized Jordan's with a new twist while keeping still the classic look to a degree.
Yes.
Yeah. Because look, I'll say this much. At this point in life, I own more Travis Scott Jordans than I do regular Jordans. You know what I mean? So,
well, just know if you ever get tired of those things and they're in decent condition, I'll steal them.
I'll keep that in mind. I'll make sure I put them up next time.
I said if you're tired of them, I'm not gonna steal them if you're still there.
I know. Yeah, Vando. This guy sucks.
I got a great Vando story you off mic.
You said you have a great Vando story off mic?
Yeah, I can't. I'm not gonna put it on mic.
Why are the Lakers so bad though?
Darvin Ham's their coach. They don't have shooters in a league where people need to make shots.
But you remember when everybody was like, they won the offseason?
You know, people give out draft grades like when the draft is over before niggas play, which I think is stupid. You can't grade a draft until the season's over.
But think about winning the offseason.
It's nonsense. Think about this. Jared Purdy is the best draft pick we've seen in years.
Jared Purdy? You mean Brock?
Brock Purdy, yeah, not Jared Purdy. I went to school with Jared Purdy, excuse me. Brock Purdy is the best draft pick we've seen in years.
Okay.
You talk about production, value, where you found him, this, that, and the third, right?
Yeah.
They didn't get an A+ for that pick the day after this draft.
Most people probably didn't talk about it. They probably stopped after the 4th round.
They probably only talked about Brock Purdy because he's Mr. Irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't talk about, hey, we think, Matt Campbell went from the guy ready to make the jump either to a top Power 5 program or the NFL.
Yeah.
No. He had Mr. Purdy and Breece Hall.
Right.
That's why Matt Campbell was great.
He cost me about $50,000 once too.
He was on the hot seat this year.
Yeah, and a fan told him about it. He got really upset and had to turn around and make sure that he let him know that he was hot about that and that he wasn't on the hot seat, that he's hot about him talking about him being on the hot seat. He'll be fired next year. Justice thought that he would be a great pro coach. And I guess because he kind of does run a pro-style offense. You want to know who else he recruited?
Who
was it? Hold on. Because now his name is slipping my mind because I didn't realize that he recruited him too. Another Iowa State running back. David Montgomery is somebody else.
Yes. He is Iowa State running back.
Yeah, he recruited him too.
Well, and I'll tell Justice this to its face. Justice is the most in tune college football person that I know.
Oh, an aficionado?
I mean, Justice will watch Iowa State, Iowa at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
On a Saturday night. It's like, hey, Justice, we're over here ripping tequila shots, getting ready to go out. Oh, Iowa State, I was on. I got a little bit of cheddar on here, and Matt Campbell's really coaching them up. But Iowa has this fucking third string tight end who's going to be great in 4 years.
Right.
And he's right.
Yeah.
As it's displayed by his back-to-back wins in fantasy football, he is well aware of players
Yeah.
that some of us don't follow until they're year 3 of the league. He follows them year 3 in college, right?
Yeah. Look,
But,
I mean, he picked Sam Laporta with his last pick. Ended
but
up being tight end one.
true. But some of what makes Justice a great oracle of college football information does cloud his pro judgment.
Yep.
He's a Kirk Herbstreit type of guy who will tell you about what a nigga did his freshman year in college. And I go, me and you'll look at it. We'll be like, that doesn't translate till Sunday.
Well, and it doesn't mean anything today.
Yeah, it doesn't mean shit. And so that's where Justice is great, but that is his flaw. Where I think my flaw is the complete opposite. Hey man, I watch Georgia and big programs and big name guys. I'm not getting the weeds on bro. I'm not watching NC State versus North Carolina, dog. Not happening.
Yeah.
There's two pros on this field, and one of them niggas is on special teams as a freshman right now. He's gonna have a breakout 5th-year season and go in the 7th round and play in the NFL for 10 years.
Yep.
Not watching. I'd rather get drunk. I'd rather cut my grass.
Then you're right. Then watch that. I don't want to watch Fresno State versus Cal either on Pac-10 After Dark. Or RIP to Pac-12 After Dark. That's one other thing we didn't really talk about. With Washington playing the final game as a Pac-12 team, the Pac-12 is no more. Or if it is, it's like going to be that weird thing this year where Oregon State and Washington State are playing with people and doing this weird thing. Yeah, it is. I mean, because I forgot what they said their schedule was, but it's like them basically being a part of like maybe the Mountain West, and then it's like, but then the rest of their schedule is like independent, and it's like, so what?
I mean, look, here's where the Pac-12 messed up. They didn't secure the TV deal. One problem. And then once they started fucking leaking, bro, bring in San Diego State. San Diego State is a good football program. You put them in a Pac-12.
California too.
Huh?
It's still Southern California too.
If you get San Diego in the Pac-12, you can recruit 3 stars in LA a lot better.
Yeah.
Lock in USC on the schedule. Like 10 years ago, San Diego State should have been going to the Coliseum and getting their brains beat out. You know why? Because that kid from LA who didn't get the USC offer is like, oh man, I go to San Diego State. When I come home, I'm gonna shit on these niggas.
Yeah.
Like it's stuff like that. But hey, Parlay Pete, man, we're getting close to the 3-hour mark. Let's switch it to the culture just a little bit.
Yeah.
We talked about Cat Williams last week, but the culture is just giving us shit.
So many gems to start off the year.
We've had the Stephen A. and Jason Whitlock back and forth. Now, this is something I've kind of been locked into. I don't consume much Stephen A. Content. Stephen A. is good at what he does, but he is not what I want to consume.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want nonsensical debate content. And Perk has fucked up and said, hey, the producers pitch us these things to come on the show and say. JJ Redick has done the same. So it's like, oh, man, y'all niggas don't believe this shit. Y'all just debating over nothing. Hey, guys.
We knew that. We did know that already because there were just times where Max Kellerman, it would be like,
give me Iguodala.
Yeah, and that being like the greatest example of it. It's just like this nigga said of everybody on the team with the 2 greatest shooters, the greatest shooting duo in NBA history. And if I could take one guy to make a 3-pointer wide open and they've got to hit it, I'm going to take this guy that is not a 3-point shooter.
But when you watch it and consume it, you think that. But then when other people who actually do it will tell you that's what it is, you go, All right, so these niggas ain't dumb. They just feed me bullshit.
They're just puppets.
So that's kind of why I'm not a Stephen A. fan. I listened to the entire Whitlock breakdown of Stephen A.'s of his memoir.
You mean Titlock?
Yeah, Titlock. Yeah. You know, when people make fun of Whitlock, they come up with all these different little nicknames and shit. I go, bro, Titlock is better than anything y'all niggas are saying. I promise you, Titlock. Whitlock took facts and asked questions about them and raised his doubts.
Yes.
Specifically, Stephen A. playing at Winston-Salem State. He goes, you only played your senior year of high school. You quit. You didn't have great numbers. Kind of odd. You go to Fashion Institute of New York or some shit like that. You quit. You don't have great numbers, which is a JUCO. And then you say you did a tryout in February.
Early March, late February.
Late February, early March to play for a college basketball team that's gearing up for their conference championship tournament.
That's Division 2.
Huh?
That's Division 2.
Yeah. And you hit 17 threes in a row. Not very believable. I'm not saying it's not true.
Well, but it was the way he broke it down. He said, so let me get this straight. You were playing at a park in New York, and some guy named this was watching you play and said, hey, you should come down here and try out for a basketball team. That season is ending, that's getting ready for their conference tournament. They played on a Saturday. You showed up to a scrimmage on a Sunday. You got checked in. They were already scrimmaging when you got there. You got checked in. You came in. You made 17 straight threes, and they offered you a scholarship on the spot.
D2, HBCU.
He said where they don't have funds to even do that, but on the spot, they didn't know your grades. They didn't know anything about you, how old you were, if you were eligible. They just gave you a scholarship.
And I looked at that. I said, hey, Whitlock, you're putting together. Fuck your credibility that people have come to shit on.
Right.
You make a very compelling argument. And Stephen A. said it was like a close family friend who did play there. But you know what? Hold on. I'm going to make a phone call. I'll make a phone call real quick. Hopefully it gets answered.
Okay.
Because it is 12:35. Oh, man. Let me see.
You can talk right now.
Hey, Rue, hold on. I'm on the pod right now. Don't say nothing crazy. I have a question for you because you were a Division I basketball player, both at a mid-major and at a HBCU. Did y'all run pickup on Sundays after y'all played on Saturday?
Nah, I don't run no pickup during no season.
All right, dog. That's all I wanted. I'll call you back in like 20. Yep. Now, this guy played at South Carolina Upstate.
What year?
Division I, huh?
What years?
11 and 12.
Did he play with Ryan Legates? Legates went there too.
This is Flim, homeboy.
Who?
Flim.
Oh, so then he probably knows Legates anyways. Ask him if he played with Ryan Legates, because I know Legates played there and then he left and then he went to GCSU.
All right, I just texted him, but yeah. So you heard that they didn't play in the season. Maybe it was different in the 90s, early 90s. Yeah. But I can't imagine getting out and playing pickup the day after a game. Not formal pickup with the head coach there.
Yeah.
So then Whitlock talked about the teammates that he brought out there, and them niggas was like 5'8". And he looked up some of these guys. One guy wasn't enrolled, couldn't really find stats. And And he's still looking for a picture of Stephen A. like on the court, like because they only have like the headshot of him in the jersey.
Yeah.
But you can't see the name of the jersey. You can just see nigga in the jersey. I'm not saying Whitlock is right. But like many conspiracy theorists, I think he's raised enough doubt to make you kind of wonder. Especially when you listen to how Stephen A. Smith talks about stuff, because Whitlock is framed as the Uncle Tom. I think Whitlock is a conservative who has goals, and he goes about achieving his goals in a way that works for the people who help him get there.
Right.
Now, Jamel Hills came out. She came out today and said that, like, yeah, what Stephen A. said about him is true. But I say all of that to say Whitlock attacked historical events in Stephen A.'s book. And I think the only thing that Stephen A. did was assassinate Whitlock's character. He did not really address the stuff that Whitlock brought up.
Right.
Which leads me to believe that Whitlock wasn't lying.
Right. You mean Tit?
Yeah, Titlock. Yeah, my man said he didn't hoop with him, but he knows him.
Okay.
Now, what I thought was hilarious was the way Stephen A. was talking, because he said in his preview video, he said he asked his pastor for forgiveness. Now, we're both sons of deliverers of God's word.
Yes.
At any point, have you been taught that you have to ask for forgiveness from a man?
No.
And that bothered me. Like, Stephen A., I've not read the Bible cover to cover. I've grown up in church and I've read a lot of the Bible. There is no part of the Bible that I've consumed or have been taught that tells me that I have to ask another man for forgiveness. Forgiveness is between me and God. Now, the Catholics, they utilize their priests to get that shit done.
Yeah.
Cool. I ain't saying they wrong. I ain't saying they right. But at the end of the day, I know I have read in the Bible that God is the only God, is the only person who can deliver judgment.
Right.
So why the fuck are you going to your fucking preacher and asking for forgiveness for some shit you about to do? Because I also think that if you are asking for forgiveness, and like this is going to get a little religious for you guys, sorry if I get to preaching, but if you're asking for forgiveness for something you're about to do, you're wrong, because you identify this as wrong behavior.
Right.
And you do it, and then you say, hey, God, forgive me for what I'm about to do.
Yeah.
I'm not the arbiter of the Bible.
Another grown man and tell them, because now you're basically saying that he is God almost or something.
Hey, bingo. Now, Parlay Pete, if I fuck you over, I will ask you for forgiveness because I wronged you. This ain't got nothing to do with me and God. This is between me and you.
Right.
But if I say, hey, Parlay Pete, I'm going to do a podcast by myself, and I'm going to go in on Rich McKay and the Falcons, and I'm going to speak in a way that is not how I typically carry myself. Will you please forgive me before I commit these sins?
I would ask you, I'd say, nigga, what are you talking about? I'd just be like, bro, put down the bottle.
Hey.
Yeah, put the bottle down. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there somewhere. But yeah. Exactly. And I'm actually going to call my dad about this tomorrow while I'm on the road, because I love talking to my dad.
You're making me want to ask my dad about it.
Like, I really want to ask someone of that cloth. What the fuck
the hell is he talking about?
What do you do if one of your members comes to you and says, hey, Pastor, please forgive me for what I'm about to do? Like, do you counsel that person and say, hey, you don't owe that to me? And if you are asking for forgiveness for an action that you are about to commit, are you really sincere in wanting forgiveness for it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't judge another man's heart. I can't tell you what God is thinking. I would never try to do that. But if I ask my wife for forgiveness for an act that she considers outside of the bounds of our relationship, I don't think that is me doing something wrong. That's not me doing something wrong and feeling and accepting the responsibility and the feelings of being wrong.
Yeah.
That's me saying, hey, I'm about to do some fuck shit and you need to accept it.
Right.
That's how I receive that. And that more than anything that Stephen A. Smith said, that bothered the fuck out of me as somebody who I consider myself a true modern day Christian, somebody who has a pretty good understanding of the word, somebody who does not have that old school relationship where I just pray about stuff and I don't put I don't put my actions behind what I'm asking God for. I don't really play with God. I have the utmost respect for God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I hear a nigga saying, I ask my pastor for forgiveness, oh man, if that's what your pastor is accepting, I feel like you're being led wrong based on my understanding of the religion that we are both a part of. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I'll accept being wrong.
Either that or you didn't do it and you're just being dramatic. Which it seems like it's all scripted there anyway. So, you know.
And then he opens up with, as a black man. Come on, man. Come on, man. We talking about? We talk about information. What the fuck your race got to do with this shit? The race card don't work everywhere. You know, the race card is like American Express. Everybody don't take that shit.
Yeah.
Shit, I went and bought my daughter some walking shoes the other day. I pull out my Amex and the guy goes, sorry, we don't take Amex, man. They charge too much. And I go, okay, well, here's my Visa. I think Stephen A. pulled out the Amex at the wrong place. He tried to pull out the Amex at the local tailor shop.
Or better yet, he tried to pull out his Amex at a lemonade stand where it's cash only.
Yeah, bro, I didn't like that shit.
But it was the first thing I noticed too. That was like I was just like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Yeah,
like I said, that goes with the dramatics of it. Look, man, it's all ESPN is ABC and Disney. All right. We know the Disney writes fake shit all the time. Of these unrealistic fairy tales that kids eat up.
And as a parent, bro, I'll be honest with you. I am so skeptical about having my daughter engulfed in fairy tales. Like, I know that shit sounds good. And hey, this isn't a kid's podcast. My wife and I decided we're not going to do Santa Claus.
Yeah.
It's no, mommy and daddy got you these gifts. If you're good and you do these things. Yeah, we see you when you're sleeping. We know when you're awake. We know if you've been bad or good. So be good for goodness sake. You know why? Because mommy and daddy coming to town, not Santa Claus. Simply because, like, why? You know? Now, mind you, I was not devastated when I found out Santa Claus was not real. Did not devastate me one bit.
But it's like you do know that shit's fake. I mean, I think it depends on the age, right? When you're like 7 or 8, for one, let's start here. You're 7 or 8. Hell, maybe even now as a kid, if I give my daughter a gift and I say, here you go, sweetie, she knows who's giving it to her. She knows that Santa didn't give it to me to give to her. And so she doesn't understand the concept of it, but she knows the jingles, like you said, all that other stuff. But like you do find out, like I'll tell you not that when I found out Santa was fake, but I was like 7. And I went downstairs. You know, you're always excited the night before Christmas. I went downstairs and like I accidentally stumbled upon like gifts that had not been wrapped yet.
Okay.
And I opened the door up at my dad's house. Downstairs in our basement, there's a room. I opened up the door and I saw it. I was like, But I knew that these were gifts for like me or like my brothers. Like I knew that they were gifts. And I was like, you know, but then again, our Christmas gifts always said to and from on them anyways. So it's obvious who got me the gifts, right? Like,
and so I'll tell you, my mom was smart, right? She didn't wrap Santa's gifts because you know that penmanship's going to be the same. And then my analytical ass is sitting there like, how the fuck this nigga hitting all these motherfucking houses
in one night?
Come on, man. It's 7 billion people walking around this motherfucker. I know everybody ain't got kids, but how you what is your supply chain process, nigga?
There was no way.
Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm sending you this letter on December 1st, bro. How you taking this shit and processing this amongst the other millions and billions of letters you getting?
No, I think it's a good call. I'll tell you, there was only one thing that I can recall that for the longest you could not tell me was fake, and that was wrestling.
Hey, that's different.
It is a little different. But let me tell you, my older brothers, I guess I don't know what it was. I think they just got tired of fucking watching it too. But they were older, and like maybe they wanted to watch something else. I don't know. But like we were like, no, we're watching like Nitro or Raw or something. And I just remember my brother being like, he's like, it's fake. He's like, everything they're doing is fake. And you're like, no, it isn't. And then I go up to my mom. I'm like, Mom, is wrestling fake? And then she's like, yes, it's not real. And I was like, yeah, it is. I'm like, now I'm trying to convince them. I'm like, look at this. You mean to tell me that that's fake? And it's like, no, him jumping off that turnbuckle and landing is not fake. But the wrestling ring has springboards. It's not as hard as it appears. He's not even really giving him an elbow drop to the face. He's barely missing him, and the guy is jumping up and acting like it. And then I'm like, well, what about the bleeding? They have razors in their little sweatbands, and they're cutting themselves. And because they're sweating, it makes them look like they're bleeding even more.
Yeah, man. The fake wrestling thing was hard for me. But honestly, I came up in the Attitude Era, so the storylines were so good. So I'm like, this is better than Young and the Restless, so fuck off.
Yeah. No, I loved wrestling growing up, man. It was so great. The wrestling era that we grew up in was great. And we had the best video games.
Yes.
From N64 to PlayStation to like, we had the best.
Until PlayStation 2, maybe early PlayStation 3, we had good wrestling games.
Here comes the pain.
Once 2K took over wrestling, it got bad.
It did. Well, the SmackDown versus Raws were good. I don't know if 2K was behind that.
No, I think that was still Activision. When Activision had it, it was good.
Yeah, but here comes the pain. Shut your mouth. The first couple of SmackDown versus Raws. I mean, I'm a classic WCW, like WCW Revenge.
Yeah, oh God, yes.
Versus NWO World Tour, like those are like
I'm
a tier wrestling games. Mercy, WWF No Mercy.
I'm a WCW guy first, and then I was a Nitro guy, and I caught the main event for Raw because Raw was on 30 minutes later than Nitro.
Right, because it wasn't live.
Yeah, so like I was a WCW guy, and then when they merged, obviously I became a WWE guy. Yeah. I was a Kevin Nash fan before I was a Stone Cold fan. Sorry, guys, my favorite wrestlers were white.
Same. I'm trying to think. Growing up, because we, obviously, like I said, so for me, like, because we would play N64, tag teams. My brother Donis and Justice would be tag team partners, and then me and Taurus were tag team. They'd be Luger and Sting, and then we'd be Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Or we'd switch up. Maybe we do like the Steiners. Sometimes we'd be the Steiner brothers too. But yeah, man. I'm trying to think. God damn it! If I had to pick a favorite wrestler in WCW, it's probably Goldberg. Probably but that's just because Bill Goldberg was like. Because
were you at the game when Goldberg was out there and did the spear?
Yes, the Tampa game.
Yeah. That was great for the culture.
It was because I never got to see it in person.
Same.
I went to one wrestling event. My mom, it's so funny. It's a funny story. My mom took me and Justice, and then Coach D took Colin and Jordan, and we all went to a wrestling event together.
Okay.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Bro, my first wrestling event was when I was living in San Diego in like 2016.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Y2J was there, and I was just like, bro, it's wrestling. Like, I'm fucking going, you know? But anyways, so I think this Steve Smith thing and Whitlock, I think their vitriol with each other is real. But I do think that there is some, Steve said he talked to his bosses about like, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to step out of character. But I don't like when people tell me they're stepping out of character because no, you're just revealing a side of yourself that you've been hiding. But it was, I mean,
he called him a bitch.
He called him a bitch, a piece of shit, a fat bastard. And Jamel Hill said this on my man, what's my man's from Miami name? Dan Levitard.
Yeah, I saw that YouTube clip too.
Yeah, so for one, Levitard and Bill Simmons were the ones who put together the Undefeated ESPN. So this is why I don't really accept black platforms that are not black shit that's not on like black owned platforms, because it's like, oh, the white guys pick who gets to be the guy. Yeah. They fucking know what the black culture wants.
Right.
But she was like, yeah, no, niggas didn't fuck with Whitlock. And I believe people don't fuck with Whitlock because of where he's working at. He's at the Blaze. He's no longer with Fox. He's not with ESPN. Like, yeah, okay, niggas don't fuck with Whitlock.
Yeah.
But Stephen A took personal attacks, called the nigga ugly, called the nigga fat. Like when he was like, "What? No one's gonna care." Like he's gonna be the guy who's gonna have no pallbearers. That's a fat joke. It was a bad fat joke. It was a fat joke. But you didn't really attack.
He's gonna have no pallbearers.
Yeah, but you didn't really attack. You didn't attack like the substance of his argument, which gets into what Whitlock has pretty much said about Stephen A. He's a mile wide and an inch deep. Like, nigga, you're not smart. You're a dumb nigga. And I learned nothing else. But hold on. We're going to talk about Jonathan Majors quickly. Just go here because I got to pee really bad.
Okay. I'll go ahead and get us set up, though. I mean, for those of you that have not watched Jonathan Majors, he was a budding actor, or is a budding actor, rather, out in Hollywood that recently got caught with a sexual, I guess it wasn't assault. It was, or maybe it was just battery. I think it was just DV. It was domestic violence battery. And, I guess I don't really have to explain too much of who it is, but just in general, of course, he lost all of his roles. He was getting ready to be the bad guy for the next phase of Marvel as King the Conqueror. And this guy sets up and just does the craziest shit. He keeps bringing up Coretta Scott King, of all people. I don't have an issue with him trying to compare Martin Luther King's wife and how she held him down during a time period where everybody hated him. But, I mean, what a weird dynamic of how he keeps bringing this up in interviews. It's really fascinating in general. And I know that Lee got to actually watch the clip. I didn't get to see the clip, but what I did know was that this wasn't the first time that he brought up Coretta Scott King.
Oh man, and Bernice King, she like
she ripped him like, hey, like, motherfucker, like, what is this? Right, Nick, you're right, nigga. Like she's just this shoulder for this nigga to cry on and was uplifting him. No, she was doing the work. Basically, she was on the ground too doing the work. Like, what are you talking about?
So I look at it two ways. I think Jonathan Majors, because I think what Jonathan Majors was doing is like, hey man, I'm not just an actor. I am a drum major for Black actors. I am a drum major for Black America. And one of the unfortunate things about being a Black person who has clout, respect, a high position, whatever the case may be, in a white dominated field, you carry the torch for Black people, whether you want to or not.
Yes.
I currently work in a field that is dominated by white men. So I am the representation of Black America to a lot of my peers because in their personal lives, they don't deal with Black people.
Right.
That is an enormous weight.
But
And
see,
for
in his case, he's not the only. Obviously, he's not the only Black actor.
no,
And I think,
but he's one of them. And here's the thing that I'll say about him and his situation. I was having a conversation, a group text, and I had a separate conversation with one of my friends, J.E. Money, you know.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I think women who aren't Black, like if you're Black and you date outside of your race, that's fine. I married outside of my race. My wife is Salvadorian. But I will say that those women do not understand the weight that you are carrying for Black people that you don't know, and the perception that your perception is you represent Black people to those people. So there
Mhm.
are certain things that you maybe should not do, maybe can't do, and stuff like that. And I'm not saying that it's fair, but LeBron James was born to be 6'9" and have the athleticism of a fucking 6'1" guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we're not talking about life being fair. We're talking about the cards that were dealt. When I play spades, I can't get mad if I get a bad hand. I just got a bid board. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's some of that. But what you have to do is, and here's my initial knock on Jonathan Majors. If you want to be the face of Black America, hey, man, Trey Young is number 2 in East guards voting. That's great.
Right.
He deserves to get in all because the coaches won't vote him in. But
Right.
anyways, if you decide to, if you know that you're in that public light and you decide not to be with somebody who's not aligned with the way you need to be represented, even though they take great care of you at home, bro, you gotta live with that shit.
Right.
Like, and I'm tired of niggas bringing up Coretta. I'm tired of niggas bringing up goddamn Michelle Obama, because I don't think these people are doing the adequate work of understanding what Coretta was, what Michelle Obama was.
Yeah.
When J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI started sending them tapes home of what Martin was doing on the road, she still held it down. And she
Right.
still did the work because the work was bigger than the problems that we're having. And we don't know the problems that they were having because them tapes didn't come out.
Exactly.
I mean, they were still tapped. I promise you, they were still tapped. But those tapes didn't come out. I'm reading a book on and off about Michelle not wanting Barack to run for president. She didn't want to deal with that shit. She didn't want to have their whole family life
Be under a
exposed to the
microscope.
world.
Yeah.
Their flaws, their problems exposed to the world.
Everything about them. Basically, their life is known by everybody.
But she took a step back. She held it down. I don't know what Martin and Coretta's situation was, because Martin is the son of a preacher of a prominent church in Atlanta. So he's a little bit different. But like, Michelle was the breadwinner for a little while. And Barack is like, hey, nah, I'm doing this other shit. And it's like, excuse me? Like, when you're not, and for those of you who may be single, those of you who may not have a partner that you live with, or those of you who may not be the breadwinner, when the non-breadwinner comes in talking about making like big changes for the family, hey, whoa, what the fuck you talking about? I'm not saying you can't do this, but don't bite the hand that feeds you now. I don't want this, and I'm providing right now. Motherfucker, you ain't making shit.
Right.
Shut the fuck up. You can't say that. You can think it. You can feel it, but you can't say that. But
His
it's like,
situation was so different. He's brought it up in 2 different cases, and think about the 2 different cases that he's brought it up.
yeah, the conversation on the phone with old girl, or the conversation they got recorded, like, You got to be a Coretta. You can't be out here getting drunk. Hey, nigga, you should have vetted her better. You got to, if the girl like to go out and party and get drunk, and you want a certain image.
You knew that before she did it. That's probably how you met her.
Come on now. Like, let me be transparent. There are arguments that I will have in my household with my wife, and I'll go fair. And some of these arguments, I go, man, you knew this when you met me. You knew this before you dated me.
That sounds like the Joe.
I told you this.
That sounds like you remember the Joe Smith thing? That was like a hot story for a second.
Yeah.
And she literally told him, he's like, well, you knew this about me when you met me.
Bro.
She was a stripper.
I let my wife know straight up, hey, I now have Falcon season tickets. I don't plan on losing my Falcon season tickets. I am going to home Falcons games come hell or high water. And when I go to those games, I'm going to have some beers. I'm probably going to take some shots before the game.
Yeah.
More times than not, I'll be responsible enough to sober up and come home. But if I have one too many, we have a little good time after the game. I'll be home in the morning. I'll be home before I got to go to work. I ain't going to miss work over this shit.
Right.
And you know it. I've fallen asleep on your couch before you went to bed. You wake up, I'm gone.
Right.
Now, you can be upset by it. But, dog, you ain't blindsided.
Right.
I told you what it was. You knew what it was.
Yeah, but then the second time he brings it up, this nigga's sitting there. He's getting grilled, basically. I mean, I didn't see the interview. Were they grilling? Was it more like the R. Kelly type interview?
It was.
Because that's what the way they make these sit down.
It was a puff piece, but he ain't Diddy. You know what I'm saying? Like he wasn't swagging on that bitch. Like, and I heard this on another platform. You know, Marvel, ABC, Disney, Good Morning America. Was it them trying to, Cat Williams? Was it them trying to take his public lashings in order to get back in good favor with the guys upstairs? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was a nasty interview, but like the way he used the Martin and Coretta thing, it was just so disrespectful to who they are in Black culture, who they are in American culture. And it's like, hey, big dog.
He's not MLK. Like,
yeah, fuck. Like,
more importantly, MLK is not. Yeah, of course he praised his wife. It's his wife, right? Like, and whatever. But like,
I don't think he had them conversations with Coretta about how to act in public. I think he vetted that before he buried.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you over here mad? Like, and based on them text messages and shit. I believe Jonathan Majors was putting hands and foots on Shorty.
Well, I don't think video. Even the video. Now, in that video, it looked like he was running away from her. So.
Yeah, but he threw ass in that.
Maybe
car.
He was. I don't know. I mean, he lost. So, like, I guess technically that is what was happening if he lost in court.
Well,
it was beyond a reasonable doubt that he was doing it.
In court, what he lost on was his actions did not directly mean to harm her.
Yeah.
But I think there's some stuff that happened that went unreported based on like some of the conversations and him talking about well, you know how this is going to look, like, don't go to the hospital. And she's like, well, I'm going to tell them I fail. It's like, bro, ain't nobody believing that shit. Bitch, you got your ass whipped.
Yeah, you definitely, that's kind of, it reminds me of I think I brought this scene up before, Rush Hour. I might have actually even said it when it first came out. This nigga, Chris Tucker, was talking to Don Cheadle as Kung Fu Kenny, and then he pulled out the gun and he looked at it. He's like, I'll shoot you and say you fell in the kitchen. like, nigga, what? How you gonna say this nigga fell in the kitchen and you shot? He's got a bullet wound.
But yeah, it felt like some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And look, man, I'm anti-domestic violence.
Yeah, nobody's. We don't stand for DV.
I don't stand on that, bro.
You can walk away. You can leave the relationship. There's so many other things.
You can walk away. You can leave the relationship if you understand that that's the partner you're with, and that's the person, and that's how they act in certain situations. Well, if you still want to be with that person, avoid those situations the best that you can. But like, I'm not judging, is what I'm getting at. I don't accept domestic violence, but I understand it happens. I do believe that there are one-offs. I do believe that there are people who in the moment, I do believe there are people who don't know how to control their emotions, but they are also active. Like once it happens, they actively try to get better.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to deal with that, hey man, have at it. I'm not telling you you're wrong for what you're dealing with because I'm not in your home. I don't know the highs, the lows. I'm saying I ain't gonna put my hands on nobody. No, I ain't doing that. That's fucked up. It's not right.
Well,
but
we all have to put your hands on someone, and the answer is yes. But at the same time,
Parlay P, I ain't put my hands on nobody since 2017, and I was outside of a bar bumming a cigarette, and I got hit in the side of my head because I was standing with the wrong people who had smoke earlier in the bar that I had no idea about, and then I did what I had to do. I hopped in my Uber. I went home.
Yeah.
No, so like I never feel the need to put my hands on anybody.
Well, unless because at that point, if you need to put your hands on somebody, you probably need to kill them. I mean, that would be the reason why you're putting your hands on them. There's no reason to ever have to fight. But certainly in the case of you and a woman, and particularly the woman that you're with or you're courting or you're married to or you're dating, like whatever you want to call it.
If I ever feel the need to put my hands on my wife, I'm going to wait till the next morning. I'm going to say, hey, we need to go talk.
I'm headed to get this paperwork filed.
We need to talk about what we need to do to make to properly co-parent.
Right.
Like that's the conversation for me. If I ever feel that
I shouldn't be getting this angry.
Yeah, no, I'm not comfortably living with somebody who's going to make me this angry, and I'm also not going to do this. Like I can't do this long term. You know, we talked about the soft landing spot. Maybe the timing's not right.
Yeah.
But hey, bro, this is what we're working towards.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Majors, you're a goof. You're a dweeb. You are appropriating Black culture. But I know that you had to do what you needed to do to keep your standing with Disney, and look forward to seeing you back on the next Marvel movie that I won't watch.
They already dropped them.
Okay.
Nigga, he's not about to be Kang the Conqueror in these movies.
Well, who the fuck is gonna be Kang the Conqueror?
So they've been lining up people, apparently. Of course, they think it's gonna be a Black person again. And the thing is that it doesn't divert from the story either, because apparently he has multiple different looks. So
yeah, I heard that on Joe Budden's podcast earlier this week.
The person they were bringing up, and even though I think he kind of already has declined, but the person that they talked about was what's his face? My man that was in he's in Star Wars. He also did damn it. The movie they cloned Tyrone. That guy, that dude. Oh, John Boyega, or you know what I'm talking about. They cloned Tyrone. Did you watch that movie?
No.
It's actually good, bro. It was kind of good. Like it was kind of good. Kind of good. I watched it. I thought it was kind of good. I understood the premise.
Oh, John Boyega, African nigga.
Well, wouldn't he kind of fit a little bit, just like a Jonathan Major, a little?
Hey, Jonathan Major's an ugly motherfucker.
He is, but he got making good, brother.
How good is
facts are facts, right? I mean, I get it, he's rich, but like, you know, that makes everybody look better.
A
little bit of money makes everybody look better.
You know what's not gonna happen, Parlay Pete?
What?
Black Hollywood's not gonna stand in solidarity with Jonathan Majors. And I don't blame them niggas.
You don't think he can get casted in whatever Tyler Perry's got cooked up?
Oh, well, yes. Tyler Perry doesn't cast A-list actors.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
He cast the legends and niggas like Shamar Moore and put bad braids on their head. What we talking about?
Why is Shamar Moore always this gardener, this poor gardener with the shirt off somewhere?
Because the only thing Shamar Moore got going for him is his abs. You know, Shamar Moore has a tramp stamp, right?
Does he?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I'm a big
know
criminal,
that he was in.
I'm a Criminal Minds fan.
He shook his tail feather in what was it? The fucking Soul Train, like the 2000s edition to Hot in Here. Or no. Uh-oh. What's underlay, mama, EI. Uh-oh.
He was in there shaking
They
ass.
showed him like doing like that thing. It's like the craziest video. It is a crazy video. Look it up. Seriously. It's crazy.
I will. Hey, Parlay Pete, we didn't talk about
Draymond.
Yeah, let's give Draymond a little bit of love and we'll get these picks. Get the fuck up out of here. I'm like,
okay.
Gonna
Man,
see.
well, let me start off before we get into Draymond Green and the whole retirement stuff, that bullshit or whatever he was talking about. I want to talk about how smelly his basketball team is and how, regardless of him even coming back, I don't think it saves them. Because we didn't really touch the NBA except for talking about how every game was a blowout tonight. Mm-hmm. But want to talk about a guy a team that is just so fucking smelly. Warriors are going to have to blow this thing up, man. They got to blow it up. They're not going to get any compensation for Clay unless they get rid of him before the All-Star break. They're not going to be able to get off of Draymond's contract in reality, so he's kind of stuck there. They need to do Steph Curry a favor and send him somewhere and recoup whatever they can. They're not going to be able to get off Wiggins' contract. Nobody's going to pay him that. Either that or they're just going to be stuck in this purgatory for really the corpse of those guys for these next like 2 to 3 years. And then on top of that, when they're bad after they're gone.
Bob Myers had it right. Get the fuck out.
He's like a thief in the night.
I mean, look at it. Kuminga's mad about his role, which I understand. He wants to get that max deal. The team
what max deal?
The team looked better without Draymond.
Hey, nigga, wait, hold on. What max deal? What are you talking about? You mean he wants to get the Onyeka Okongwu deal, the 4-year, like 60, 62? You mean that deal?
Nah, I think he wants to the Trae Young, John Morant.
All right, we're gonna end this conversation here because
now I don't think he deserves it. I'm telling you what he wants.
Nobody pays him that. Nobody.
Here's where the Warriors messed up. They tried to please two gods. And you can't be Christian and Muslim at the same time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No,
you cannot try to grow young talent while maintaining your veteran talent because the young guys need reps to like get better. And Clay said he wasn't losing shots for KD, which he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
So why the fuck would he lose shots for Moses Moody and the other African nigga?
He's not.
And now he probably should because that nigga ain't making shit. What is this HBCU shit TNT got going on with Michael B. Jordan? You know what? I am so tired of
that. They did that last year though, too.
Look here. I am tired of them taking these black figureheads who didn't go to college to be the face.
They didn't go to HBCUs. Fuck it, they went to college. They didn't even go to. These are guys.
Hey, get Stephen A. Get Shannon. Try to get Oprah. Try to get Diddy. I ain't saying you had to graduate. Well, now you can't get Diddy right now. I ain't saying you had to graduate. But my nigga, did you attend HBCU? Yeah, I see Killer Mike on here. Morehouse nigga. Shout out. Yeah, I love it. But I don't want I don't want to see Malcolm Brogdon. I don't want to see Russell Westbrook. I want to see Bradley Beal on some HBCU shit. Y'all niggas went to the PWIs, which I'm not mad at. You're athletes. Go to the best school to get you to where you want to go.
Chris Paul was never going to go to Winston-Salem.
Fuck no. Hey, Chris Paul, thanks. You're an advocate. But you went to Wake. You was probably getting pussy at Winston-Salem, but you wasn't going to Winston-Salem.
Yeah.
You ain't deal with your old auntie in financial aid who will give your mama all your fucking information that she ain't supposed to give them because you 18 now, you grown. But it's like, nah, we ain't telling you this shit. Nah, we'll tell your mama, though.
Chris Paul stepped on campus. Everything was taken care of. He got the nicest room. His ass was getting kissed.
Dick was getting sucked.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that, while everybody was eating beefaroni, that nigga had filet mignon. These were the things that were going on at these schools that they went to. Skip Prosser was still the coach at Wake Forest, too. Winner.
Yeah, bro. Like, I'm all about promoting black culture and all of that stuff and HBCUs. Man, get Ben Wallace on that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Get Stephen A. Like Stephen A. and Shannon Sharp, them going back home. That's dope.
Yeah.
Because they are HBCU products who are on the biggest stage.
I'd love for them to do one at Morehouse. Maybe they get Spike to be a special guest host and they do it at
yeah, bro, come on.
They get in Forbes. Yeah, that'd be really nice. And it would be perfect. They could do it basketball season. They could do it for homecoming, low key. That'd be really cool.
Morehouse only packs out Forbes twice a year, maybe 3 times. Clark game, and the homecoming hip hop concert.
4 times then when they would do the Luda Day thing.
Oh yeah, that too.
That celebrity game, yeah.
Yeah, I was always not on campus Labor Day weekend, but
me neither. But I just know that it was always a lot. I mean, I wasn't. Look, Brewer would get the guys in if the guys wanted to get in. All right.
Yeah, you fake ass basketball team niggas, you and Cam. Yeah, you're on the basketball team, but I ain't see y'all clocking on minutes.
Hey, look, I was practicing. I had my shit. I had my shoes. I wasn't a manager. I wasn't sitting there filling niggas' waters. I played too, but
you wasn't UD?
No, hell no. I mean, UD's on the team too, but one of the things that I wish that I had done was he gave me the opportunity to try to come on and be more of like
a graduate assistant type of role.
Yeah, and I think that I wish I did it just because.
No, you don't. You wish Morehouse had a more robust sports media program. And niggas could have actually taken that shit seriously and done it, because me and you both wish we would have. It was a minor. It was a minor while we were there.
It was a minor, but you were still taking classes at Clark. And when I first got there and I told them I want to do broadcast journalism, they were like, all right, so you're going to need to major in English. And then I looked at the English curriculum my freshman year and I was like, this doesn't have anything to do with anything. And then they were like, or you're going to have to go over to Clark and basically take your classes. And I said, but I don't go to Clark. So why would I don't understand. I would have just went to Clark if that was the case. And I know that's no shots at Clark. My mom went to Clark, but it's not what I signed up for. I'm a Mohawk man. So, yeah, but here, we got
yeah, hey, Draymond, you weren't retiring. And I'll be honest with you, real quick on Draymond, that whole retiring bullshit that he said, it sounded very Gen Z. Like, hey, you don't want to adapt to the world that you're in. You want the fruits of it, but you don't want the fucking sour apples that can come with it. So hey man, straighten up and fly right if you want to play in this league. If not, take your ass to Shanghai.
Yep. Meow.
You ready to get some picks out, man?
I do. And for this edition, we're going to do a special edition of the Parlay Pete 6-pack. we're gonna give everybody what they want for a super wild card weekend. We upgraded. We're gonna have ourselves a 12-pack. I'm gonna pick my winner/spread and the over/under in all the games.
All
so
right.
you don't have to list it as like 12. It can be listed as like kind of like how you did the Michigan one. You butchered that a little bit. And when you said tell me to fix it or something, I was like, no, you fixed it because you like spelled Michigan completely wrong. But you put -4. I guess you were putting the spread, but
Yeah,
I was saying to take the money line in the under. Was basically all I was saying. I just gave you a score though, too.
I put the score up there and then I put the spread, but I didn't make that very clear. I was drunk when I made the caption. And I copy and pasted that caption and I read it the next morning when I sobered up.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you left that comment, I said, oh, okay. But you know what? It's that time. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for Parlay P's NFL Six Pack. But it's a playoff. So guess what? He's giving us the full 12. 12 Bud Heavies, baby. If you drink this tonight, you're going to get drunk.
Absolutely. And as eloquently as Lee just put it, we are going to do something that we've never done before. We're going to give out 12 picks. That means that's a 12-team parlay if you want to parlay it. But if not, it gives you 12 individual picks. I'm going to go through this and give a brief analysis of the games because we did kind of already go through our analysis on these games. But I'm going to go ahead and do that for us. Let me see. Hold on. I'm pulling it up right now.
They got Ernie and Chuck and them out here milking udders right now.
They're just milking it, huh?
Yeah. Chuck is like fucking white nipples don't feel like this.
Oh, my goodness, man. Okay. I think I got it. Damn it. Okay, here we go. All right, we're going to start off. I guess I'll go in order, actually. We're going to start off with the Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. This is a game that's a little tricky just in a sense of I think that the Browns are getting overvalued, and the line has changed since I kind of put these picks together. I initially put my picks together as soon as they dropped, so I'm going to be basing it off of those lines.
All right.
Anyway, we got the Cleveland Browns at the Houston Texans. I like the Houston Texans on the money line, and I like over 43.5 in this game. I think that C.J. Stroud is going to be able to put some points up on the board, but I also think that Cleveland's going to score. And I think that the difference in this game is going to be that Cleveland turns the ball over more. Joe Flacco has been averaging over 2 turnovers a game since he's taken over as the starting quarterback. Houston's got an opportunistic defense. They're going to be fired up. I expect Houston to get the W. I think it's going to be a really close game, though. But give me Houston Texans on the money line and over 43.5.
All right, next pick, baby.
Next, we got the frozen tundra game, possibly the coldest game in NFL history that's going to be on Saturday night. You've got the Miami Dolphins at the Kansas City Chiefs. I am not sold on either of these teams, but I'm even more not sold on the Miami Dolphins going to Kansas City in freezing cold weather and winning a football game. We're going to take the Chiefs on the money line, and we're going to take under 44.5 in this game. I don't expect there to be too many points getting scored, to be completely honest with you. I thought that the Dolphins' offense looked super anemic, to be honest with you, against the Bills. I didn't really like how they looked against the Bills, and I was really turned off because Devin Achane cost me so much money. So I'm going to take it out on them, and I'm going to say that Patrick Mahomes lives to play his first wild card, his first playoff game, not at home, next week against the Bills, and they'll end up losing. But then again, we're going to get back to – see, you fucked me up there, Lee. My goodness. We're going to get back to the next game, which is going to be the 1 o'clock game on Sunday. This is the game that Lee is going to hate that he stays for because he's going to end up missing good parts of the Dallas Cowboys game because he'll be heading back then. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Buffalo Bills. Give me the Steelers plus 10.5 and under 35.5. The over-under has went a lot. It's went down a lot in this game. It's opened up at 40. So it's kind of weird because it feels like the value would be on taking the over. But, man, I just don't see where the points are going to come from. And even without J.J. Watt out there, I just expect Pittsburgh to be a well-coached team going against a team that has been in playoff mode practically for the last 6 weeks. But at the same time, I just expect this to be a closer game than a lot of people think. Give me Pittsburgh plus 10.5 and then under 35.5 in this game. Next, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we're talking about arguably the two most famous franchises in the NFL. I think that this is going to be a great game, except I think that Dallas is going to cover the spread. We're going to take Dallas -7, and we're going to also take under 51.5 in this game. I like Dallas to cover, and the reason is because they've averaged 40 points per game at home this year. They've had 2 close calls at home, one against Seattle and then one against the Lions. I don't think that the Packers are that caliber of team. I like Jordan Love. I was big on him. I actually predicted them to make the playoffs this year. And I think it's a great story, but they're the youngest team in the playoffs. I think this is a growing pains game, and I think this is a game where Dallas exercises his demons and says, no, we're coming. Pause. But we're going to go ahead and take the Dallas Cowboys -7 and under 51.5. Next, we got the Los Angeles Rams at the Detroit Lions. I would argue probably the best playoff game all week. Yeah, we're going to go with the Rams on the money line. I really, really like the Rams. And I'm going to tell you guys something that a lot of people wouldn't want to, take a stab at. If you want to put in a futures on the Rams. They just feel like they're having that type of run. I think that offense is explosive. The idea that Detroit is playing their first home game in 30 years is going to be great, I think, for Detroit. And I think we should expect a great atmosphere. But at the end of the day, I think the Rams are the hottest team in the NFL. They've won 6 of their last 7, with their one loss coming against the Ravens on the road in overtime on a punt return loss. That's how they lost their one game in their last 7 games. This team is smoking hot. Kyron Williams, he's toting that thing. Matt Stafford slinging it. Kupp's catching it. Puka's catching it. I don't think they want those problems. Plus, Sam Laporta being out is going to be a big deal for Detroit. So we're going to take the Rams on the money line, and we're going to take over 50.5 in this game. And then finally, we get to close out with the nightcap on a Monday Night Football. We get to hear Troy and Joe one last time this season. And we get the Philadelphia Eagles at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm going to be honest with you. This game, I ended up having to change my pick. I initially had the Eagles on the money line, but since Jalen Hurts came out and said that he has not thrown a football since Sunday, I've changed my pick to Tampa Bay plus 3.5 and under 44.5 in this game. I don't expect the points. I expect points to come at a premium. And then I just also don't really expect Philly to move the ball because clearly they're not going to be throwing it. And Tampa's going to be setting up for the run. So I expect it to go under. And even though a part of me still thinks that Philly's going to win this game, I'm going to take Tampa plus 3.5, and we're going to take under 44.5. And that is going to be our Super 6-pack, also known as a 12-pack this week.
All right, Parlay Pete, give me 1 second. Let me get this last one. We got Bucks 3.5. And we got under, what we got? Under 44.5?
Yep.
All right. There we go. You like it? I love it. Oh, no, actually, I fucked that up. Let me go back through it. We got Texans on the money line. We got that game going over 43.5.
Yes.
We got the Chiefs on the money line. We got the game going under 44.5.
Yep.
We got the Steelers plus 10.5, and we got that game going under 35.5.
Yeah.
We got Dallas -7, and we got that game going under 51.5.
Yep.
We got the Rams on the money line, and we got the game going over 50.5.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the Bucks plus 3.5, and we got that game going under 44.5.
Correct.
You like it? I love it.
And once you like something and love it, we know it's time for Lee's
3. Lee's 3. All right, man. So I'm staying away from the over-unders. I don't touch those things.
Oh, I'm surprised Lee's not going to give us Lee's 6-pack for this special Super Wild Card edition.
You know what? I'll do that for you. I'll give you a special Lee 6-pack this week, and so that will force me to touch overs and unders. Okay. So
unless you just want to touch the spread/winners instead only, but then that would mean that you agree with all of my picks. Yeah, there you go.
Well, exactly. So I'm going to touch. Give me Texans on the money line. I really like that one.
Yeah.
Give me Chiefs on the money line. I like that, and I also like that game going under 44.5.
Okay.
So that's 3 already.
Yeah.
Give me that Steelers plus 10.5. I really love that one.
Yeah.
Gives me the 4. Give me Dallas -7.
Okay.
I like that. Give me the Rams on the money line.
I think that's a brilliant 6-pack.
I mean, yeah, because Jesus, we'll punch all those in there. We'll get those picks out to you. Parlay Pete, anything else you got for the masses? Hey, don't hang up tonight because I actually got to talk to you before we get off.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's it. No, that's it.
Hey guys, we gave you almost 4 hours. You know what? Listen to it.
We had a lot of shit to talk about this week, though.
Yeah, it was a hell of a week, and we'll see you guys next week after Wild Card Weekend's over.
Salutations, good people.